Focus on referrals, focus on referrals, focus on referrals. I can't say that enough. You have to know that your best workers are going to come from referrals. This isn't always the case, but in most cases it's true. You can actually go out there and find one worker on your own by contacting them from their resume or placing a job listing, and that one worker could potentially turn into hundreds of great workers. So you have to understand that. Now, for different business models and circumstances, you may always need to be contacting people directly from resumes based on some specialized skill or whatever the situation is, or placing that job listing. But I have built entire teams of people after finding just one decent worker. And here's how that works. Good workers know other good workers. It's like birds of a feather flock together, as your mother may have said, like mine used to all the time. Good, hardworking people, especially in a certain industry with certain skills, have worked on projects with similar people, even with different skills. So good workers know other workers. Always keep that in mind. So here's a little trick. Tell any new worker that you're paying a $50 bounty for any worker they recommend to you that you end up hiring. Say, we're expanding, we're looking for some new people. So for example, let's say I hire someone to write content, right? They're going to be writing articles and blog posts and other pieces of content on a regular basis to bring you traffic. Of course, we're going to cover all that when we get to the traffic section. But you're paying them to write content to bring you traffic, right? Well, let's say you want some more content writers around the same price. Well, here's what you do. Basically say, hey, I would be interested in hiring some more content creators like you. If you know of anybody that would do a good job at this, I'll pay you $50 if you refer them to me and I end up hiring them. So if you don't end up hiring them, of course, after you put them through the whole evaluation process, then you don't have to pay anything. But that $50 goes a long way. I mean, to those people, it's like $500 or $1,000, based on their cost of living. So it's a big deal, but it's a small price for you to pay to have someone send you a really good lead on somebody. Ask workers if they have any friends or family that could do a good job. So not only do they just know anyone, ask if they have any good friends or family that could do a good job. One of the secrets to retaining people is if you happen to also employ their family members. We've got some workers where we've hired and employed the husband and wife team of that family. They both work for us. So you're less likely to have someone, have them take them away from you and have them go work for another company, because when they're both working for you, it's like a package deal. So ask if they have any friends or family. And usually when they have other family members working, because you're making up so much of the family's total livelihood, they're really conscious about doing a really good job for you. So it's important to ask if they have friends or family. Network with other marketers to share referrals. Now this is really important, because here's what's going to happen. After you start hiring people, and especially if you hire some of their friends or some of their family members, they're going to start coming at you with a lot of great referrals. They're going to say, hey, my aunt is really looking for a virtual job, like you've given us. She could also write really good content, do you have a position for her? If you don't, network with some other marketers. Hopefully by now you should be making friends with other people in the outsource force community. Keep in touch with those people, through the portal. We're going to leave the portal open for a while, and besides the worker co-op. So if you get referrals, share those with people. Say, hey, I've got a great content writer that I don't need. Anybody looking for a good content writer? And then you can share those referrals. So that's a great way to get more referrals from other people as well as to share them. Here's a big secret, especially in the Philippines. Get someone that, of course, lives in a town near one of the universities, which most of the major areas do. Have them, once you hire somebody, let's say in that area, or there are ways to do it even if you don't, have them go to a local university and tell the university, that your expanding company, internet company, is looking for some other workers in the field of whatever it is, programming, content creation, internet marketing, and basically say, you're looking for some new employees, and you welcome some university students. Well, a couple things happen here. One is you can get some really, really smart people to work for you coming out of the university, or that are still in the university working on their degree. You can get people to work for you as interns. A lot of times they will work for free just to get the experience, or they'll work for a very, very reduced rate. But a university, if you get someone to build a relationship with their local university, it can be an untapped gold mine for workers for your company. We've just started doing this, and it's insane. We have so many that want to work for us that it's just a great situation. So get someone to work with a local university to send you interns, or to send you some English writing majors or other thing to be creating content, and you can go directly to somebody right in college, or if they're coming right out of college, and have work for them. The one thing you have to know about the Philippines as well is that when people graduate from the university, really the best they can hope for in many ways is to work at a call center and make about 500 US dollars a month. Many times they struggle actually finding a job. And so any job at all that you can give somebody coming right out of school, when they're a pretty young person, is a very, very good thing. So working with universities is great. Here's a great, great trick to all outsourcing, and we're going to get more into this as the course goes on. Encourage your outsourcers to outsource. A great example is the Bounty for Referrals program, right? So you already told them, I'll pay $50 if you refer any worker that you recommend that we end up hiring. And you can tell them, and you know what? You can share this bounty with someone else that brings you good referrals. So basically, they can pay one of their friends, let's say, that's connected with a university or connected where a bunch of people work at a huge company. And they can basically say, hey, I'll give you $25 if you refer anyone to the internet company where I work, that can be a good writer or create good content or do online marketing. And then if someone does get referred, they get $25. Then of course your worker gets $25 also. So you can do this with almost anything. When you really start creating a lot of content, you can say, look, I'll pay you $4 an article to write a 300-word article. And by the way, feel free if you have any friends or family members that are good writers, and you can train them to use our system. And we're going to get into all that when we get to training management. But you can say, if you know any other good writers, that think can do a good job with the system and little model that we use, I'll still pay $4 per article. So if you can hire and manage them to create articles for less, like $3 an article, you can keep the difference. So you can make $1 per article that you don't even write. You'd be fascinated to know what happens when you start doing things like this. First of all, what do you care as long as the quality is still good? You got to have quality control still in effect to make sure it's good work. But you'll find that some of these people will really go and work really hard to get a bunch of other people to do work for you and make sure they do a really good job, and they're making a little bit of money off it. It's like they own their own business and they're kind of managing their own business. So that's a huge secret, is letting your outsourcers outsource. I've hired people to write notes and to study products and to do things for me, and I encouraged them. And what they did was they found some other really good, kind of assimilators of information, if you will, where they could read and write and summarize stuff really well. And so they took the hourly rate I was paying them and basically paid someone less to do a lot more research and work, and then they kept the difference. And it was great. We were both happy. They made some extra money for work they didn't have to do, and of course I'm not doing any of the work, and I was glad to pay the amount that I did. And I got all this research and writing done from all these different courses. So that's something to keep in mind, is letting them outsource. This is what you also need to know. Referrals usually know each other and live near each other. They live nearby. Why this is important is once you start getting some workers that live in the same area, like in the Philippines, live in the same little city, they can get together for meetings. They can work together and collaborate. You can eventually get a little office, and there's benefits to that. I'm going to talk about that later on in the course, where you can have people actually coming and working in an office. A lot of people feel more important when they go and work at like a little office, or a place where they're actually going to work, going to do a job, rather than sitting at home, doing their job just from home. And a lot of times people like to be around other people, other talented, hardworking people, as a part of a team, so they can collaborate and say, hey, what are you working on? What am I working on? Hey, let me get your feedback on this. Do you think this writing for this article is pretty good? Do you think I should, change it? So that's a huge benefit when you get referrals, when they know each other and they're in their, kind of the social network of each other, and they live nearby, because you can create these little mini sub-teams that are very, very powerful and will then create much better work than the sum of the individuals working in distant locations just from their homes. So keep that in mind. But know that many of your best workers will come from referrals. That you're not always going to have to hustle and place job listings and fire off emails to resumes. That once you start hiring people, when you're ready to expand your outsourcing team, it's going to be a lot easier than you think. And the way to do that is through referrals.